So much better when we're up here together, right? It feels like you're in our living room. I hope you see that we got some really fun, comfy chairs from the tree house. So thank you so much to Orlando and Mary, and really to Jana and the parks crew for helping us maybe make that happen. Thank you, Jana. I appreciate you. And of course, I hope you see that we have a small little fire. I was worried the guys were going to get hot up here, so I turned the heat function off because, if we had, heaven forbid, we had put Chief Miller up here, we would have had a fire and the fire department would have had to be called. But we hope you feel like we're going to have a community conversation. We wanted to make it as homey as possible, so we have some fun mugs up here. Mayor Dye says ride or die. Mayor Chow says chow time, and Mayor Falconer doesn't really have a go-to name tag either, but a nickname. So I called Susan, his wife, and I said, come up with a name with Kevin and Falconer, and she said, he likes to go by Navigator at home, and I was like, well, okay. I don't know. There seems like another story there, Susan. And I had to use T9 texting to fit it on a mug, so it says Navigator. So yay, thanks. I'm glad we get to sit next to each other this morning. So we are going to hopefully have a very different, very fun, very informational Mayor's Forum 2019. So we'll go ahead and get started. You had the opportunity as a business community to submit questions. We received over 20. Several of them were submitted by the Economic Development Department, which were very helpful, and we streamlined them. So we're going to go ahead and get started. In no particular order, we'll keep bouncing back and forth between the mayors. They let me know that to save time, I don't have to keep saying mayor, mayor, mayor. So we're going to go with Robert, Joe, and Kevin this morning. Welcome to our living room. What sets your community apart in the region that makes it economically competitive? And for the sake of easy, let's go with Robert first.
Oh, my. That's a little loud. Okay. Farmers Branch, in my opinion, is one of the most centrally located cities in the Metroplex. I mean, if you look at where we're at between 635, the tollway, I-35, and 121, I mean, your ease of getting in and out of our city couldn't be any better. And when you think about you're 20 minutes from downtown Dallas, you're 20 minutes from the business corridor at 121 and the tollway, you think that you're 20 minutes from DFW, Love Field. For businesses, there's no better place to locate because you can get in and out of town so quick. But I also look at the intangibles that we have, our police and fire, our first responders. We have a 4-minute response time. So your business is safe, your business is going to be protected, and we have the ability to get there lickety-split. So if there is a problem, that we're coming and we're going to be there quick. And I think of, just a quick example, a few weeks ago, there was a cardiac arrest event at a facility. We were there 3.5 minutes later, and because of that response time, that person is still alive today. And so you should, feel comfortable at your business knowing that that's how we are taking care of our community, not just our residents, but our businesses as well.
It's my turn?
Absolutely.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce to organize this Mayor Forum every year. Finally, this year, we changed the format. Like last year, I only have 5 minutes to speak. And
it's impossible.
This year, I can capture more time, Addison is so unique.
Yeah.
Addison is so unique because we are so small, but we got everything there. I always describe Addison as Lexus car. How many people drive Lexus? Yeah.
Nobody wants to claim
but
that.
you know what?
Both
Robert just mentioned the location. I think we have a better location because we are right by tollway. Majority of our city right by tollway, in and out is more convenient. And that's number one. Number two, we are really business friendly because all the policy we have done is based on what we need. So now I go out to visit all the business at least 1 or 2 every week with Orlando Campos. Yeah. So, we improve our policy based on the business needs. The other thing is, our amenities. We have so many restaurants. How many people eat every day in Addison? For lunch or dinner? So our restaurants, hotels, more often you hold your meeting in Addison. So far, we have 23 hotels. So our amenities is amazing. Besides, we have so many parks, and we have special events. So how many people went to Kaboom Town, Oktoberfest, Taste Addison? Yes. So that's our advantage. So I believe each city has its own uniqueness, but that's what Addison has.
Thanks, Joe. So I too, we all of us have the advantage of a great location. I will say that Carrollton, we actually have 3 highways, and we have 3 train stations. Yeah. So yes, but no, one of our tags is that where connections happen, and that means a lot of things for us. And one is that transportation, which is great for all of us. But it's also where connections happen for our people. And our residents, I believe, are just, it's great having we just had neighborhood night out last night, and visiting with those folks who are out there just always reminds me why our communities are so strong. It's really the people. And the businesses fall right into that, because when we look at the business community, which is sitting here, and when we visit with the folks that are in Carrollton, the same thing is that it's a group of committed people, and they love where they are, and so I think it's the people, both in the businesses and the residents, who make the difference.
I hope that you all are starting to see that these 3 actually genuinely like each other and have great working relationships. And that is why we were confident this was going to work today. So thanks for striking the fun quickly. This is going to be fun. How does competition across the 3 Metrocrest cities impact your roles as mayor, as strong advocates for your respective cities? And how is competition good for all 3 cities? Joe, let's go ahead and start with you.
All right, this second question, I started first. And you know what? Competition, in a way, is good. You know why? Keep you do everything on your toes. You have to work harder than anybody else to make your community even a better place to live, work, and play. So, however, since the uniqueness is different, so I would say this, Addison, is in the little place surrounded by, City of Dallas, Carrollton, and the Farmers Branch. So, so we decide to work together, just like NTAC, North Texas Emergency Communication Center. So we can save our resources, save our monies. So we will work together in more regards, such as animal shelters, such as jail system. Even in the future, we can expand to more aspects. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the competition is, that's what our capitalistic society in the U.S. is built on, right? And it makes us better. But I do believe that it is a special relationship that we have here in the Metrocrest cities, that we do work together well. And that's something that isn't typical, and something that we shouldn't take for granted. And I'm very proud of the Metrocrest Chamber and the Metrocrest cities and our partners that are here, where we really are able to leverage each other's strengths and to create a stronger overall community.
I didn't leave much for me to say. But, no.
When Joe goes first, there's never much
when Joe
left
goes
to
first,
say.
he's good. That's good. No, competition's fantastic, as you said. It keeps us on its toes, and it allows us to, keep reinventing ourselves, keep looking at things that could be better, that our community needs, that's going to allow not only our citizens but our businesses to thrive. I mean, we want to be a community that thrives, not just survives. I mean, if you look at the development that's happening in our community, a lot of that is a response to the competition in and around us and what we're looking at. I mean, you got Addison that has all the entertainment and restaurants, Carrollton with its uniqueness in transportation, and the several areas that you have that are very competitive. I think of Old Denton, 161, that that's becoming a true mecca for food and innovation, and we're responding to that. We're reimagining our city and areas of interest and trying to revitalize those areas. And those responses that we're answering to are because of that competition. But it's so great to see leaders in our other communities, bringing new ideas that allow us to think a little bit differently, more creatively, and hopefully come back with something that's new and innovative that still allows Farmers Branch to be unique and still a part of the Metrocrest cities. I mean, it's just it's a wonderful place to live. It really is.
Every 3 questions, I'm going to have to throw a softball one in that says support the chamber. So how important is it to stay connected to your business community? Robert, we'll start with you.
Oh, I don't
Kevin
get-
should go.
Kevin, oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'd appreciate to go first, but Kevin,
always
Kevin-
give Rob-
Navigator, I'd like to start with you.
Yes.
Please navigate us back to
Navigate
the
it back.
importance of staying involved. Navigate me on home.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't think it's very important.
Okay. Okay, question 4. Question 4 would be, what makes your, okay, yeah, we'll restart
No,
that.
Obviously, it's extremely important and obviously the chamber is one of our key resources for for making sure that we do have that communication and the relationships built with our businesses. We're fortunate in Carrollton to have some really strong partners across the industries that are in Carrollton, and we are doing everything we can to continue to expand that through the chamber. We also have been doing roundtables with our businesses across the city for the last couple of years, and that gives us a great opportunity to interact and to hear feedback from our business community on what we can do to improve and what they're feeling and seeing out in the community.
So that's my turn.
Yeah, we'll go back this
Yeah.
way.
So, in Addison, I'm so glad to hear ABA is merged with Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce. Originally, I trying to help them stand up alone by themselves, but apparently it didn't work. But they come to me, and also you suggest to me, and that this is a great solution. And I think they can fully utilize the resources of Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce. In Addison, I always stay very closely with the business. As you all know, they know where to find me. Do you know that? Yeah. So often I went back to my restaurant, I have all the people waiting for me without appointment or anything. Not only that, just like after this, we have a coffee with the mayor once a month, so they can always attend. We hold that at Don Brothers Coffee. It's 1 hour length. And also, we have a quarterly newsletter from economic development. Besides, every week I try to manage my time to visit 2-3 companies if I can. If I'm not able to do it as a mayor pro tem job or deputy mayor pro tem job. So we have a lot of exposures. Besides, we have liaison programs, appointed by council, and they go visit all the different organizations we have dealt with. Most importantly is we also have how we call it once a month, event. So we go visit companies, just greet to the people in the early morning when they arrive to work. We provide some granola bars, Wilson Kerr, is that right? And hand out some bananas. That's how we reach out. So I think that's a great programs. If your office in Addison, tell us, maybe you run into us sometimes, So that's the reason. Stay as close as possible, and then you can promote your business for your city. Yeah.
I think I made a mistake letting you go before me. And I'm also one of the people that wait at the May Dragon to meet with Joe when I have to.
Yeah.
But no, it's extremely important to stay connected to our businesses. And a stat that I found most surprising, which I had Charles verify because I wanted to make sure I was reading it correctly. 92% of the people that work in Farmers Branch do not live in Farmers Branch. 96% of the people that live in Farmers Branch work outside of Farmers Branch. I know those numbers kind of don't add up, but it's, there's different reasons for that. But I mean, when you think about that, and you think about the idea that our population swells by almost 250%, 2.5 times our nighttime population than our daytime population. That's how many people are coming to Farmers Branch to work. That's how many people that don't live here, that don't get to just come to us and speak to us and know us on a first name basis. So we have to be connected. We have to be out there. And that was the reason that we got so involved in the chamber and made it a priority to say, hey, we're going to get in front of these businesses. We're going to connect with them because there's so many things that we don't know that they need. How can we help you grow? How can we help you thrive and become better? What is it that our city is lacking that, how can we have those conversations to say we need to provide some of these things because this is what we're hearing from our business community. And I think about the other day when we met with Big Game Sports, right? We didn't know that they had needs for other stuff, but it allows us to have a conversation to say, okay, how can we help you grow? Where can we find another location for you here in Farmers Branch that is going to allow you to expand your business, become what you want to become, and help them achieve those goals. But I also think of the amazing work that happens from our economic development team. Allison Cook and her team are doing a phenomenal job. We have a retention specialist, Amy. Yeah, give them a round of applause. All of them, Orlando, Robert. I mean, they're all doing amazing things in the Metrocrest cities. But with a retention specialist, we're visiting businesses all the time, talking to them, getting those answers so that we are more connected. And you have to be in this day and age, and it's just the only way that we're all going to get better.
Absolutely. What makes businesses in your respective cities good corporate citizens and partners? Examples that we previously talked about are hiring local talent and veterans, paying livable wages, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, etc. I'm going to let any of you take it because last time, Kevin, I messed up and I'm saving a question for you in a few minutes. So any of you can go ahead and jump on in.
I think all the past 10 years, we have worked very closely with like Marriott K. They planted a lot of trees every year, donated to Addison. They treat the employees so well. As a matter of fact, this weekend, they're going to have a 5K run. If you like to run, just go there. So register. And, many other business like UDRs, Vitruvian, we work so closely, so they have their Thursday night live, music, entertainment. Those companies, they not only work so closely with the cities, but also they treat their employees so well. They pay them well. The spirit is high. So that's important to keep very closely with them. I'm very proud of those big companies in Addison. Recently, we visited Bottle Rocket. How many people know this app design company, Bottle Rocket? It's a very cool place. All the places are so cool. Even Google has an office in Addison. Can you imagine? So the interior design is just like Texas. So that's the reason you can tell how many businesses I have visited. Yeah.
I'll let you go last
All
time. Bounce it around. Keep it interesting. I think a lot of companies are responding in a way to be good corporate citizens. I think it's kind of an ethos that a lot of companies are taking on because that's what the workforce is requiring. That's what the market is demanding, and so they have to respond to those requests from the employee base that are like, we want to be involved in these things. And I love the corporations that get involved in the charities in our community. I think of all the benefits that are going to Metrocrest Services, Woven Healthcare, and all these groups that are providing, our residents, not only in Farmers Branch, but in Addison and Carrollton and services that are allowing them to grow and live a life of dignity and to grow. And I mean, some of the things that they're advocating for is how do we help them get back into the workforce? How do we help them grow? And then you bring in the community college at Brookhaven with that, and you just see how the whole community is coming together to make sure that everyone is kind of taken care of. And one of the things that we're working on with Metrocrest Services is a program called Safe and Sound. And that program was identified because of a challenge we heard in our school district where there are quite a few kids in our school system that are homeless. They're not technically always living on the street. Some of them are, but some are living in hotels or on a couch or in a car. And that's a problem. How can a kid like that grow and become educated and feel secure if that's the situation they're living in. So what we did is we partnered with Metrocrest Services to say, hey, we're going to get these kids off the street. We're going to put them in a more stable situation. We're going to work with their parents to make sure that they are secure, that they have a roof over their head, that we're helping them gain employment. And what we're seeing is companies from the community come to be a part of that. And we hope that this grows and it becomes a way to solve a real problem that isn't always addressed. It's the one that's right in front of you on the curbs that a lot of people think about, but it's these problems that need to help. And when the business community comes to help us in these efforts to make sure that every child is taken care of, because these are choices they're not making, they're thrust into, I think this is where we can all be better together and truly make a difference that, for the amount of money that we're putting into it, the benefits far outweigh the cost. And I'm just proud that we're a part of that. I'm proud that the City Council unanimously agreed that this is a task that we need to take on, and we're excited to work with Metrocrest Services in that capacity. And that's one way that we can be good corporate citizens.
Well, I think that Joe and Robert said it very well, and I'll just echo much of what they said, is that the thing that I think is always, especially early on, surprised me when we have our round tables and we go out, is I'm expecting the businesses to say, what is it the city can do for them? And it's always the other way around. They're always, what can we do for this community? And I think that's great. And I think of, we have so many examples, but Western Extrusions is one of our corporations that calls Carrollton home, and they hire veterans. They're working with both of our school districts, our community college, on providing jobs for our students, and it's great seeing the relationship that the businesses have with the community and with the cities. And AmerisourceBergen, who is a recent new entry, calling Carrollton home, and as they came in, they've got Metrocrest Services and other of our community organizations here that they partner with immediately. So it's actually humbling to see that happening in our business community, and I think it's something that is the other thing that helps us set this apart from other areas.
Absolutely, and I want to make sure that we recognize that all 6 of our presenting sponsors, so Atmos, Encore, Reliant, Republic, TXU, and Waste Management, they all have sponsored nonprofits to be here today. So if you look around the room and you're looking at their tables, they each have at least 2 at their table. So it's everything from Metrocrest Services to Woven to Louisville Education Foundation, CFB Education Foundation, the Stephen A. Cohen Clinic in Addison, to Operation Kindness, to Metro Care Services, to the Warren Center, a little bit of everything. So we're very excited to have the community care and really rally behind the nonprofit. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. Our next question is, in that same vein, what makes your city a business-friendly environment where all industry and individuals can grow, prosper, and thrive?
I really think that is what we just talked about is largely the answer to that, is that we try to create an environment that works well for our residents and our businesses. We look at everything as a partnership, and so when we've created a small business program to help small businesses who want to start up in Carrollton. We realize that sometimes what seems like normal processes to us is often confusing, and you don't necessarily know what to do on all those, so there's a step-by-step process with people who are there to help. We've tried to implement other programs where we have assistance to our communities, especially in the planning department. I think one of the things that's outstanding is that we work not just to say, here's what you can't do, but we say, here's what you can do, and here's maybe something that you can do even better. And I continue to hear feedback on the positive things that we hear from that in that regard, and that we really are here as a partner. We're not here to create some kind of burden for you as a business.
When I visited all the businesses, all the companies, and I heard the concerns, the issues. That I come back, we change it, we improve it. And also we are so approachable. And I remember early last year when Crown Plaza was sold to a Chinese company. Actually, the owner, accidentally, I know him. He lived in LA. So he says, Joe, make sure you come by for the grand opening. So I showed up, I welcomed them, said a few words. And then when he said, you know what? He had 40-some hotels. So going to open up one in New York. And he believed the mayor in New York won't show up. So everybody left, and that's something I can tell you is, doesn't matter in the past, in the future. We always stay so close with our business community. We help them grow, and we have those talent pool in Addison. One thing you might not know, 72% of people living in Addison has college degree and up. Is that wonderful? So when business open up in Addison, they do not need to worry about the workforce. So they can find them very easily, yeah.
With Farmers Branch, we're a smaller city, and that's a great thing. It allows us to be innovative. It allows us to provide less red tape, and it allows us to, have more discussions with our businesses to talk about how can we get creative to find some of these solutions. And that's what I love most is having the conversations with our economic development team, with our staff, and with other leaders of what are some of these problems how can we address some of those issues? How can we, meet with them to make sure that we are giving them what they need? And, as we continue to grow, and change, we have $1.5 billion worth of development underway right now. You can see it all along our tollway corridor. We're trying to provide more density on our east side that is going to provide housing to accommodate for all the businesses there so that people can relocate. You look at Tenet Healthcare that's just now moving to Farmers Branch with 1,300 jobs right there at Spring Valley and the tollway. Now we have JPI who's building 3 separate complexes right there. If you can't say that growth isn't coming, that this isn't an area to be, that this isn't where businesses need to relocate, why would they do 3 projects at the same time right in one area? The demand's there, and that's happening because of Farmers Branch and kind of what we bring to the area, but also our relative closeness to Carrollton, Addison. The uniqueness of each of our cities allows us to complement one another in ways that you don't see in a lot of other areas, and it's great to see that we can work with all these other teams and our businesses to hopefully provide the best atmosphere and environment for them to thrive.
What is your city doing to address last mile transit connectivity for residents, employees, and employers? So for those in the audience that aren't as familiar with last mile connectivity issues, it's really the difference between where your bus or your transportation may drop you off, and then you have that last mile to get you to work or to your next destination. It feels like maybe this event will be brought to you next year by our member Western Extrusions, but I know that Bennett and Kenny are in the audience over there at the TXU table, and so I'm going to let Kevin go ahead and answer that question first.
Well, it is an issue that we have to address, the first and last mile, and as all DART member cities, we're fortunate to have the trains and buses, but as you said, that's not always and that doesn't solve the entire problem. So we've got to get you to the station and from the station to work. And we are very proud of the program that we are helping with Western Extrusions and DART, looking at how we can solve that problem, specifically as a pilot with them on getting transportation and shuttles from the station to Western Extrusion and back. I think it's something that will provide a model that I think we can use across the community and potentially across DART. But it is something we need to address. And in addition to that, I think we have to remember that there's other ways to accomplish that first and last mile. We're extending our trail system to our stations, and that is a great way to get safely to your work or from home to the stations on our trails. And so those are other options that we look at. DART is doing all kinds of things with the GoPass app so that it integrates with Uber and other providers for finishing that off too. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there, but we need to keep pushing for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a DART city is a tremendous benefit. You think of the exponential growth in this region, the amount of cars that are now on the roads. I know when I got on the freeway this morning to get up here, most of the freeways were already red, and you're just kind of like, when is this going to end? How can we get places faster? And DART has done an amazing job building out a pretty good network of accessibility, but we could do better, right? How are we going to make more connections to the center parts of the city? How are we going to get more rail lines to other areas? But having those other modes of transportation from the GoPass app, you can grab a micro-mobility, which is your scooters or your bikes. You can grab an Uber or Lyft from there to get you to your final destination. But I think it's also paying attention to what's going on in and around the areas around us. I look at the Midtown development and Dallas working hard to get a kind of a people mover inside of that area. And Addison is part of that study. Dallas, over at Forest Lane to get to the blue line is part of that study. And understanding that was happening, I brought up the point, why isn't Farmers Branch a part of this conversation as well? Why isn't our Green Line a connection point to that area as well so that we can connect more people to where business is actually growing? And then, Kevin and I, we've had conversations as well on a high level about how can we expedite future rail plans that are connect more of our cities that allow for more connectivity. And I would touch on the Cotton Belt, which I think is going to be a huge and tremendous benefit to the region, providing a north connector, east and west, and providing what is now a 55-minute, train ride to the airport down to 20 minutes is going to be a game changer for the city of Farmers Branch, but it's also a game changer for Addison. And I'll kick it over to you to let you talk about the Cotton Belt, because that was a big passion project of yours.
Yeah, nobody's as happy as I am. I was mayor before for 6 years. We worked so hard, finally put on the system plan, then waited again, and then finally I came back, we got this done. So last week we broke the ground. Nobody is as happy as I am. We're going to have a trail system paid by North Central Texas of Council of Government and also Dallas County. So alongside with the Cotton Belt Rail Service, which is Silver Line, if you don't know. So it's 26 miles long. And the connection is going to be, either, I think, the best thing is bike is safer. So we just passed the pilot program for bike and scooters. It's just a pilot program. So we want to review it at the end of the year and see how it goes, and then from then on. So I travel to Taiwan all the time. They had the connectivity all this many years. Not only they use Uber, they don't have Lyft yet, but they use Uber. That's number one. But number two is taxi. So taxi is driving around. You don't have to call. You don't have to do anything. You walk out the transit center. There are hundreds taxi or cab, you want to say, is parking on the side, or you're waving your hands. It's so convenient. So normally, the starting price is around like 75 Taiwan dollars divided by 30 is probably just 2.5. So it's very convenient, and you don't have to waste a lot of time. So we're going to do all the possible research, see what's the best way to connect this 1 mile distance. It's very short, maybe 1 mile or 2. So we tried the trolley before. Anybody knows trolley in Addison? Back to many years ago. But what happened, it didn't work very well. You know why? The frequency is not enough, number one. Number two, during lunch hours, it's so short. People don't want to wait. But if you have the frequency, every 5 minutes you can see a trolley. It will be wonderful. So that's something we're going to work with DART. But of course, it depends on the money, the funding, yeah.
It's all about the money.
Yes.
It's always all about the money. How do we build sustainable communities that last? Provide one example of work you are doing in the arena of sustainability or a project or program your city is working on.
You wanted me to start? Sure. Actually, we started the sustainability.
I don't think that was much of an option. Would you like me to start?
We started this project in Addison Circle back to 1998. So the first project done is sometime in 2000. You know, and Addison Circle, the first one is the post-Addison Circle. Then Aventura, Allegro, District A townhomes, Meridian. And now it's the Emily. And then also we expand to Vitruvian. Then later on going to be the Addison Grove, which is the Sam's redevelopment. So you can see the growth. You know, we always emphasize walkability and pedestrian friendly. And then people live there, they have numerous parks, so they can walk dog and this and that. Last year, we had the dog park built at the Addison Circle area. So we always emphasize that. With the Cotton Belt Silver Line coming in the future, you know, in 3 years, hopefully I'm still the mayor by then. And, you know, it will be wonderful. It will make this area more sustainable. So that's what I can't wait. You know.
I hope you're still the mayor too. So, I mean, sustainability. When you talk about it across cities, I mean, it could mean multiple things. I mean, is it sustainable on an economic level? Is it sustainable on a growth level? Is it sustainable, you know, in a environmental conservation effort? And so there's so many different facets to look at. But I mean, from a sustainable growth, you know, we're growing at a tremendous rate. I mean, we're now over 40,000 people, which at the last census was around 30, and you know, projected to get closer to 50,000 people in the next 5 years. And so managing that growth, making sure that we're building out the right amount of housing, but you also have to look at the amount of density that's being added. And I think Kevin, the other day said, hey, that's an inevitability, right? You know, when you look at where we're located and the types of uses that we have to make housing work and new and innovative solutions work, density needs to be explored, but it needs to be done in a right way. Where are areas where we think density is going to make the most impact for our city? We look at our east side, we look at the creative core that we're trying to create over there that is going to change an entire area of our city that currently has, a lot of functionally obsolete buildings. The businesses are doing well there, but the owners of these buildings are looking at what can be created, what value can be added, and how can we change an area along with the plan. And that was a plan that involved the stakeholders. We brought all the businesses in and the residents and said, what would you like to see in this area? How would you like to see this area revitalized? And that east side plan is what came of that. And we hope that that becomes an area that is vibrant with entertainment, art, restaurants, retail, but also density, because you need that density to make those types of uses, kind of survive. It's what there's going to draw them in to make sure that there's the bodies there with the income levels that are going to support those businesses so that they know that they can succeed. And when you think about green initiatives, we're also exploring the possibility of putting solar power on several city facilities and an old landfill we have that would hopefully provide enough megawatts to power our city facilities and hopefully do so in a responsible way. And we're evaluating it to make sure that what we're looking to do is actually going to be economically beneficial to our city, because if it's not, it just doesn't make sense. We want to make sure that we're using our taxpayers' dollars and the dollars that the businesses so graciously give us as well for operating our city, that we are using it in a way that's allowing us to grow and grow responsibly and to be sustainable in that growth.
Well, as the other mayor said, that sustainability means a lot of different things, and I'm so proud of our council and our staff, because I think that sustainability is something that's always top of mind, and we pride ourselves on being innovative in how we approach things. That we're ranked as one of the most efficient cities in the country, and so we look at a lot of different ways. And on the sustainability, the green front, we have solar panels on the city hall. We've got solar panels on several of our fire stations. So we're doing those things. We've reduced water usage by over 20% in the last 10 years per capita, which I think is something we need in this region to be very conscious of. But I think one of the things that I use as a great example of the innovative thought that our staff has is that we are, if you aren't aware, when in our water systems, there are certain areas where the utilities at kind of end of line, the water tends to stagnate, especially in the summer. And so when you go by and you see a fire hydrant that's just pouring water out, it's like, gosh, you're asking me to conserve water, and then they're just dumping it all down the storm sewer, right? So it's a tough thing. Well, our public works guys said, hey, you know what, there might be another way to do this, and so we're doing a pilot program where we are working with our citizens who are on those end of lines and allowing them and asking them to run their sprinkler systems at those end of lines at certain times and utilize that water to get that water flowing so that we aren't having to do that. And that can save literally millions and millions of gallons of water. So we don't know how that'll work just yet. We're in the process of doing that. But whether it works or not, I'm proud of our staff for coming up with those kind of ideas. And that's not unusual in Carrollton.
How important is placemaking to your talent attraction and retention efforts? So placemaking for the audience is the important amount of effort placed on putting together the idea that this place is going to be used for this particular thing. So all the energy and effort is going to be, I keep using the word placed in terms of placemaking, and so I'm sorry for that. But we're going to really, Addison Circle would be a great example. It's going to be used for this. This is the type of people, and so really putting together efforts in sourcing one type of person that lives there, one type of identity that lives there, and really trying to attract a certain type of effort and energy in recruiting a type of person to live there or type of business to live there. So how is placemaking used to recruit and attract businesses and individuals? Who wants to take that after that great Webster definition I gave to the audience?
I love buzzwords. So
No, I know you were so excited for this
placemaking,
question.
Live, work, play. We're just going to drive that home. The East Side plan that I was talking about, there is a place for placemaking in there because that's what we need to revitalize that area. And some of the components of placemaking is it accessible? What type of uses do you have in that area? And what is some of the sociability factors? Where can people gather and come together? And some of the efforts that our city is taking on through, our trail program, where we're building out more trails to make it more connective, make it more walkable. We're looking at rails to trails over in that area to take away some dead space to allow some more accessibility. But when we're reimagining these older uses and turning them into something more creative and innovative, how do we make sure that the businesses that are coming in to kind of redefine what that East Side is in our creative core, how do we make it to where people want to be there, they want to gather, they want to be a part of that, but we also need to make sure that it's for all ages. It shouldn't just be for millennials, it shouldn't just be for the boomers, it should be for the all populations, all demographics, so that we can be a community together. But you also need several uses that help define the space, that program it in a way that people want to be there. It's like, today I want to go to this restaurant, but tomorrow I'm going to go check out a show at that venue. And how do we bring that together in a way that makes it kind of harmonious in a way to where that environment is a place people want to be. And I think businesses want to move and be in and around areas like that because it gives their employees more opportunity to get out of the office and do fun and want to come to work and maybe stay later, and just kind of changes that whole work dynamic, especially when you think about the millennial population and Gen Z and how they operate and do their business. I mean, you got to account for that because that's the biggest amount of workforce that's coming up in the future. And so I think it is important.
Yeah, Robert almost answered everything
Almost.
we want to say.
You never want to
But
go
you
all
know
the way.
what? Placemaking is a look and feel of your community. But see, the leaders of the city has to have the vision to decide what you want the city to be based on the needs of the citizens. Can be corporate citizens, can be residential citizens. So the vision is so important. I'm glad I have a great slate of council so we can make sure Addison is moving to the right direction. And, just like Robert said, it should be accommodating to all the ages. So, but however, I'm a baby boomer. And then, recently I look at Robert, which generation he belonged to. You would say millennial, right? But people under 23 years old, they are Generation Z. So they're all coming up, growing up. So a lot of projects, I would suggest, even though our city manager just 41 years old, very young. And then, all the policy, all the developments, we need to take those in consideration, make sure it can accommodate to all those younger age group. So I believe, with the technology improving, so, there will be a lot of better changes, better trend. Yep. So I can't wait for that.
Well, my day job is I'm an architect, and so that's really what architects in my mind do, is that we convert space into place. And so it's something that is obviously close to my heart. And I think these gentlemen did a great job of talking about that. In our communities and in Carrollton, one of the things that I feel like, as Joe mentioned, talking about the vision, I think it's important, and that I think what we do is that we work in its authentic places. These are, sometimes you'll see things where it's forced, right? And those are generally not successful. And so we look at these things. I'm so proud of our, Joe's got a lot of restaurants in Addison, but I think we are now almost nationally known for our Asian cuisine. And my daughter is a flight attendant, and so she flies all over the country. And when she's very proud of being a Carrollton resident, and she tells me that almost every time when she sees someone from anywhere across the country and tells them that she's from Carrollton, that they go, I know H Mart and all of the great Asian restaurants.
99 Ranch.
99 Ranch,
Yes.
All of them. It's
So I shop there all the time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that I think that's an example of placemaking in an appropriate fashion, and we've got the same thing with our downtown, and I can go on, but it's an important thing that, as Joe said, that requires a good vision and long-term thinking.
Absolutely. We have time for one more question to ensure that we get you out as close to 9 as possible, and I think it's a really good one to end on. How do we encourage the next generation of leaders to get engaged in their community to ensure we are building a pipeline of talent to continue to remain relevant in a strong community today and tomorrow?
You want me to start?
Yep.
So,
When you say, do you want me to start, you don't
Yes.
give us an option
No.
to say no. It's, of
You
course,
know,
it's yes, Joe.
Go, Joe.
since I was always invited to different chambers to speak to the leadership program, whether that's Leadership Tomorrow, which is the Great Dallas Asian American Chamber of Commerce, or Leadership Metrocrest, and many others, and even some Chinese leadership program. And I think it's important to let them know why you want to get involved in politics, to help the community grow. The reason I started, back in the old days, back to 2002, because, I think I can contribute myself even more. So I learned to be an insurance agent back to 1998, a realtor in 2001, on top of being a restaurant owner for so many years. So I said, I have all the basic knowledge of everything you dealt with, all the affairs. So I believe you need to teach the kids through education while they are in school, in junior high, senior high, and college. Give them opportunity to get in touch with politics, so they will have a right mindset, and then I think it will be easier for them to be a good citizens and get involved in American politics, yes. Or municipal politics.
Yes. I think it is crucial. I am excited about the fact that the millennial and Gen Z population really is civic-minded. They are, I think, much more so than my generation concerned about that giving back. And so we are certainly doing everything we can to encourage that. We have internship programs that we put in place that specifically bring those individuals in to see what we're doing, to start to make connections. I have a mayor's advisory council, and specifically it's a diverse group of people, but we specifically target some of our younger members of the community so that we can help to develop them and to get them involved in the city and in the community. And so I think it's a natural thing. It's not hard because everyone, they want to do that, but it's a matter of giving them the opportunity, because oftentimes that isn't what they see and feel, so we want to make sure we do that.
Yeah, and the next generation's grateful when the older generation gives them a chance, you know, right here. When you're talking about 2002, I was remembering my senior year of high school, and
Yes.
how fun that was. But when you think about the next generation of leaders, I mean, I think Farmers Branch is doing a tremendous job. I mean, we're already there. Half our council's under 40, right? And I think that's a tremendous shift from what we've always been. And so you're bringing in the next generation for their ideas. How are we going to rebuild the city? How are we going to revitalize it? But you also look at the way we're interviewing and putting people on our boards and commissions. We're making a conscious effort to, put people on these boards that are more diverse. It's more representative of our demographics, and we're looking at younger people. They have great ideas, but some of the challenges with the younger generation is I'm working a 50-hour job, and then you're also spending 30, 35 hours a week at mayor, and so balancing all that stuff is hard for the younger generation. But if you can find ways to show them that it can be done, that you can be involved, you can make a difference, I think they're willing to be engaged and willing to come in. And I love going back to the schools that I grew up in and talking to the kids and telling them, hey, I'm just like you. I'm just where you were. You can do this too. You can be involved. It can happen. And I think if all our cities, which I think they are, everyone's making that same effort. The next generation is willing, they're able, they're committed, they're driven, and we're focused. And while some of the media says that that's not what the millennial generation is, that we're a little selfish, and no, we're not selfish. We're passionate, and we want to make a difference, and we want to give back. And I'm an embodiment of that. This is my hometown, love it. And so grateful to have this opportunity, and I'm so excited to watch the next generation of leaders come up through the ranks to continue to make a difference and continue to make not only Farmers Branch, but Addison and Carrollton the best area to live in the DFW Metroplex. And it's an honor to work with these guys. It's an honor to work with our council. It's an honor to work with our city staff, because that's changing too. We're getting younger, more innovative, and that's a challenge that I've always put on them is, let's think outside the box. Let's go for broke sometimes and do something different. And so, it's a great time to be in the Metrocrest area. So, just want to, I'll let you finish it off, but just want to thank all of you for being here and listening to us and being a part of this community. You truly are making a difference. It goes way beyond some of the stuff that we do. So, we're just grateful that y'all are here and a part of it.
I would tell people, if I can do it, and you all can do it. Yeah.
And Aaron, if I might kind of tag on a little bit to that, is that, as I mentioned, I think it's a great association and a community that we've created in Metrocrest, or not created, is here. And I want to specifically thank my fellow mayors. And we get together on a monthly basis. And
yes.
Which is a great thing to share ideas. Joe has. I actually started serving on council back when he was on mayor, and was a great mentor even back then.
Thank you.
And appreciate all of his help. Robert and I, we have a lot in common. We actually grew up in the same church. We actually both read Raiders. We got elected at the same time. Well, we have the same barber. I think he forgot where the barber is.
But
I haven't gone in a while.
She always wonders where Robert is anymore. Yeah, but
Saving my money.
and we're the same age, I think, too, right? Oh, maybe
We're
not.
the same age.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
right. But anyway, it's a great situation we have in Metrocrest.
Yeah. Please give the three mayors a round of applause. I hope you truly can see that although they are always going to fight and advocate for their own, when there is a win in Addison, it is also a win in Carrollton and a win in Farmers Branch and across the board, because when there is a win in one of the Metrocrest cities, it is a win for all of the Metrocrest cities. And that is really the emblem and the motto of the Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce. When we build business and we break boundaries, we win across the board for all businesses in our communities. I think Robert, Kevin, and Joe will all agree with me. This format worked. We've never had 220 people in our living room before, so welcome. It was a little cramped, but welcome, and this worked. This has been different, but it worked. And so thank you, communication team. Thank you, economic development departments, and thank you to our 6 presenting sponsors, Atmos Encore, Reliant Republic, and Waste Management and TXU for trying this with us, believing with us, our board of directors, and of course the cities for coming together and saying, let's give this a shot. The business community needs to hear that we are all in this together, and because of the amazing leadership of our mayors and our councils, we are able to go out and advocate on behalf of our business community. Thank you for joining us today. It is 9:06, so close to being done at 9, but
yes.
you know what? It was worth it. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. We will see you again next
Also,
year.
I want to thank all the cheerleaders from Addison.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you.